leyenda viviente que Claudio entrevistó en su más reciente visita a Guadalajara. James Hetfield, vocalista de Metallica, habla para especiales Telehit. Escuchen lo que tiene que decir y prepárate a rockear con los mejores videos de Metallica.
Hermanos de Telehit, nos encontramos en un especial de lujo. Una de las bandas más grandes en la historia del rock se encuentra de visita ahora en Guadalajara. Estoy hablando de Metallica y tengo la oportunidad de platicar con un grande entre los grandes, el señor James Hetfield. Mr. James, it's an honor to talk with you.
Hello, hello.
All right. First of all, thank you very much for the time of this interview.
Hey, anytime. Thank you.
Cool. Now, the first question, I really believe that everybody learn with everything that they do. And I want to know, what could be the biggest lesson that Dead Magnetic has given to you?
That no matter how much fire you have to walk through, it will end one time and things will be better. That this will pass. You know, we had a really rough time around Saint Anger and around all of that. You know, the writing, the rehab, the Jasons, all of that stuff was a big test for us, and we came through that, and now we're flying as good as ever. So, yeah, there is hope.
And what about the songwriting? Can you explain us how was the process for this specific album?
Well, a lot of this stuff, a lot of Death Magnetic was written on the road for Saint Anger, and you know, the next record has been written on this tour. So that's usually what happens. And when we're putting or listening through the 65 CDs full of riffs, you know, you're thinking, oh yeah, that riff was in Toronto 1998. Oh, that's great. Or, you know, you take a riff from something from the past, or you just, I have something that's personal for me that I think is good, I bring in, or the whole band just says, let's start from scratch now, go. What do you feel? Oh, and then you go. So there's at least 3 different ways that work for us.
So does that mean that you already start creating new things for the 10 studio album?
I think so. Well, there's always gears turning, and for me to feel like I'm moving forward, I need to write. I have to write, and it's whether I'm in a terrible mood, I can write, or if I'm in a great mood, I can write. So it's good, yeah, there's a lot of stuff already. You know, rehearsing before this leg, coming out here. There's, you know, 4 days ago we're in the HQ rehearsing, and all I wanted to do was write new songs. Like, wait, we gotta play Creeping Death. Okay, yeah, you know. So it's there always.
Now, talking about yourself, long way before Metallica, during the time of Obsession or Phantom Lore or Leather Charm, what could it be the memories that you have as a musician about that time?
Oh, well, in my mind, that's all I wanted to do. I was going to play guitar and be on stage. That was it. No matter who talked to me, they would hear me say that, you know. So what are you going to do when you're old, you know? And my brothers would always make fun of me. Oh, you're going to be on stage and sign autographs. Like, yeah. And okay, you know. But even when I didn't know how to play or didn't have friends that knew how to play, I was designing our stage set, you know. It's like, here's me and here, and everyone's coming up, hey, I want to be that guy. It's like, can you play? No. Well, okay, till now, you know, just for now you can be that guy. And then I just started seeking out other musicians, you know, and then the better I got, the more I was seeking better musicians, and sometimes you hurt your friends because, I'm sorry, I'm going to another band, but you know, they were telling me, oh, you're just desperate. Oh, he's... But, you know, I had to do it. I had to do it.
Trust I seek, and I find in you.
And now, meeting that kind of musicians, it was the time when you meet Lars. Do you remember that first approach?
Yeah.
How was it?
Myself, and there was another guitar player. His name was Hugh Tanner. And him and I went to high school together, and we were the next KK Downing and Glenn Tipton. You know, I was flying V, and I think he had a Strat. So I guess I was KK and he was Glenn. But we were looking for a drummer, and we found Lars in the paper, and we went and auditioned him, and it didn't work out. I mean, Lars was terrible, but he had something. He had this drive that I had. He was going to be in a band, even though he couldn't play, and that sounds familiar to me. So it was probably 6 to 8 months later, he called saying, "Hey, I've got a record deal, and I need put a band together." And by then, he had gotten quite a bit better. And so, you know, he's always been the business side of it, and I'm a little more the musical, creative artwork guy.
And how was the decision? Okay, I'm gonna be the guitar player, but also I want to be the lead singer of this band.
Yeah, that went back and forth all the time. Me growing up, you know, playing guitar in some garage bands in high school, and singing somewhat. You know, I took piano lessons, so singing and playing, it was kind of, you had to do it, and it became easier. And then I decided, you know, I just want to be a guitar player, because if your band is going to make it, you need a front man. You need the you know, the David Lee Roth, or you need the Bruce Dickinson. You know, you got to have someone that's running around doing all that crazy stuff. So I would play guitar, and we were looking for frontmen, and no one had that vibe, you know. So okay, I'm gonna sell my guitar stuff. I'm gonna be the singer. I'm gonna be a singer. Started singing, sold my guitar, bought a PA, and then we were looking for a guitar player and could never find the right guitar player. I ended up showing them how to do the stuff. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna do both until we find a singer, and we haven't found one yet. Still looking.
One of the best album in history of metal is considered Master of Puppets. What do you think that make that a specific connection with the crowd?
Well, I think by the third album, we really knew how to do what we're doing. And I think the Cliff era ended then, which is unfortunate. But I think that was the peak in the Cliff era. Just filled with great songs. We were a little more worldly. We had been on tour a bit, and a lot more confident.
And now talking about the present and probably the near future of the band, a really important person around your band is Rick Rubin. How was the experience to working with such a great director?
Yeah, Rick Rubin was different to work with, for sure. Bob Rock he's been our guy for, 15 years or more. And it became a little too comfortable. We needed some new blood, and we really went after Rick Rubin and found out that he's quite the opposite of Bob Rock. Bob was there all the time, and in the decision making and breaking up fights and all of that stuff. Rick Rubin was the opposite. He would show up and listen and say, "That's good, that's not good, do more of that," and say goodbye. Which was perfect for us at this time, after Saint Anger and, you know, therapists and producers and cameras and everything there. For us to be left alone, the four of us, it was a good thing. I like how Rick works. I like how Bob works. So we can do it both ways now.
You were talking about the time with all the cameras and everything. I mean, the documentary is some kind of monster. We can check out that kind of life and that kind of thing that you have at that moment. What could be the best thing after all these years of the release of the documentary that you keep about some kind of monster?
Well, the monster movie for me was a gift. And the filming of a band falling apart doesn't happen all the time. You know, if your band is in chaos and things are horrible in your mind, you're not thinking, "Hey, can you come film this?" You know, it just started happening. And the fact that we went from this really, dark, immovable object to something extremely soft and kind of all over the place you know, that happened on film. We're not like that. We're not the black immovable stone, and we're not that jello that was in the movie. We're somewhere in the middle, and we're about extremes. We went from one to the other in that movie. So what I learned is balance works out pretty good, and communication is king in a band. You have to talk to each other.
True. Now, something that happened to everybody in the world every 365 days is that we get a year older. But I think that for a rock star, it could be harder to start getting older. How do you deal with age?
Well, one of the main things that I'm working on is acceptance, and accepting things that, you know, your camera wasn't working earlier. Okay, that's how it is. It's not my fault, not your fault, it's nobody's fault. It just is. Accept that. But, you know, my childhood says something different. It says, you could have done better. You could, you know, all of that bad talk. You know, for you know, accepting how things are is pretty key, you know. And your initial question was, what?
What the biggest lesson about the album?
Oh yeah. Accepting where we are at that moment, and really going with that feeling, and enjoying the moment. Don't write a song for tomorrow. Don't write a song about yesterday. Write for right now, because that's the most honest you can be.
Talking about, we can see in music industry that a lot of really good rock stars start doing different projects. We saw them Crook Vulture. We see they might get Loud documentary with Jimmy Page, with the Age, with Jack White. Have you ever think about doing an alternative project beside Metallica?
I know what your question was. It was age.
Age.
Yeah.
The Age was the other. Yeah.
Aging, your memory goes. First thing, your memory goes.
No, I thought that you were asking me about the first question in the interview, so I thought, no, the Age.
Yeah, the age thing. Okay, my fault. Yeah, your memory goes. And your memory goes. And then, you know, I would say this, you know, in rock music, you're not supposed to get old. You're not supposed to age. You're forever the angry 16-year-old. And there's you know, rock stars from the 70s that you look at now, and they look like old women, and it's like, oh no, I can't, dude, you know, okay, gray is, you know, I earned the silver, and you know, you got to accept it, man. You know, yeah, we can't tour for 6 months straight anymore. We've got to cut that down, you know. You know, we're not pretending that we're the most physical band stage, but you know, we want to keep going. So, you know, you have to take into consideration family or physical health, how long you can be on tour, how long you can't. But just accepting the age and writing lyrics that make sense to you still, you know. You can't stay that angry teen, even though there are times when I go there and regress.
And the other question about the project, have you ever thought about doing a project beside?
Yeah, there were times where I thought about it, and you know, especially around the, you know, Jason had thought about it, and kind of, I think everyone has their ideas of, wow, if I wasn't doing this, this would be so great, you know. And you go and you play it for a little while, and you go, it's I miss Metallica, you know. I've done a couple things where people have asked me to do projects for their album, and like I was on this Waylon Jennings tribute album, and I did the drums, the bass, the guitar, singing, everything, and it was boring. It was pretty boring. I was the only one in the studio, you know. There was no one to yell at, you know. It was, I miss the creative interaction a lot. I think we're a good combination.
Thank you very much, Mr. James Hetfield. It's an honor to talk with you. I know you're an Oakland Raider. I love Oakland Raider. We're not doing really good but the next, we need to fire Jamarcus Russell, and then everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a few more things than that need to happen, but yeah. You know what? I stick with him, no matter what.
Thank you very much. Anything you want to say to all your fans in Latin America?
Well, yeah. Thanks for supporting us for these last few hundred years that we've been around, and. Metallica is a live band. We appreciate it so much that people come to the shows and show up and show their love in person. And that's what the ultimate sign of respect is for us. So thank you for showing up.
Ya lo vieron, hermanos. James Hetfield, Metallica, grande entre las grandes, de las mejores bandas en la historia del rock. He tenido la oportunidad de platicar con su líder. Vamos a continuar con más, hermanos. Esto fue uno más de los especiales Telehit y que les sea leve. Chao.